What if I told you that the most effective English learners in the world don't rely on classrooms, teachers, or expensive courses? They rely on something much more powerful, and it's completely free.
The ability to teach yourself, to turn your daily life into a classroom, to learn from everything around you. A conversation, a film, a song, a mistake.
Welcome to Real English Flow, the podcast where real conversations teach you real English, naturally and effectively. I'm Jake.
And I'm Lily, your guides through the English language, the living, breathing, everyday version of it.
Today, we're talking about self-taught learning, what it means, how it works, and the specific habits that make some people learn English faster than others.
B1 to B2 level. Practical, honest, no fluff. Subscribe if you're new, and let's get into it. Let's start by clearing up a misconception. Self-taught doesn't mean learning alone in silence with a grammar book.
That sounds miserable, actually.
Completely miserable. Self-taught means taking ownership of your own learning, not waiting for someone to deliver knowledge to you, actively going out and getting it.
The difference between a passive learner and an active one.
Exactly. A passive learner waits for the teacher to explain, waits for the class, waits for the right moment to practice.
An active learner creates the moment. They don't wait for someone to assign them an English conversation. They have one.
They don't wait to be taught a new word. They look it up the moment they encounter it.
And here's what separates them most. They treat everything as a learning opportunity, not just formal study time.
The podcast they listen to on the way to work, the series they watch at night, the email they write carefully instead of rushing through.
All of that is class. Life is the classroom. And self-taught learners never leave it. I want to share how I personally improved the most in English. And it wasn't in a classroom.
Where was it?
In a kitchen. Listening to podcasts while cooking dinner every night.
A kitchen classroom.
The best one. I started doing it without a plan. Just putting on English content while I cooked because it felt like less effort than sitting down to study. But something happened over a few months.
What happened?
I started catching things I used to miss. Expressions I'd heard before but never understood. Suddenly they made sense in context. Pronunciation patterns I couldn't hear before, I started noticing them.
Because you were hearing them repeatedly in natural speech, not in slow textbook audio.
Exactly. And here's the thing. I wasn't trying that hard. I wasn't stopping to take notes or look up every word. I was just cooking and listening.
Consistent exposure without pressure.
And that low-pressure consistency turned out to be more powerful than intense but irregular study sessions.
Your brain was absorbing patterns without the stress that usually blocks learning.
Completely. Stress is the enemy of language acquisition. Relaxed repetition is the engine.
Let's build some vocabulary around self-directed learning. These are B1, B2 phrases you'll use in real conversations about growth and education.
First, self-directed learning. When you take control of your own education without depending on a teacher or institution. She improved her English through self-directed learning.
Next, immerse yourself in. To surround yourself completely with something every day. The fastest way to learn a language is to immerse yourself in it every day.
Pick something up. To learn something informally, without formal instruction. I picked up most of my vocabulary from watching series.
Reinforce. to strengthen something you've already learned by practicing it again. Shadowing helps reinforce pronunciation naturally.
And trial and error. Learning by trying things and seeing what works, even if you make mistakes. My whole approach to English was trial and error, and it worked. Self-directed learning, immerse yourself in, pick something up, reinforce, trial and error. 5 real phrases for talking about learning independently. Before we continue, something important.
If you've made it this far, and you're still here with us, genuinely, thank you. That means a lot to both of us.
The only free way to support real English flow is by subscribing to the channel. 1 click, no cost, but it tells us, keep going. This matters. We want more.
And that's exactly what keeps us creating every single week. So if you haven't subscribed yet, hit that button right now.
Know someone learning English? Share this video. 1 share could completely change their journey.
Like the video, turn on the notification bell, and leave us a comment. We read every single one.
Now, without further delay, back to it, because we're just getting to the good part.
Let's continue. I want to tell you about the period when my English improved the fastest. It was not during a course.
When was it?
I was watching a series, an American drama. Lots of dialogue, lots of natural conversation, people interrupting each other, speaking fast, using slang.
The kind of English textbooks completely ignore.
Completely ignore. Nobody in a textbook says, "I'm not gonna lie," or "that's a lot to unpack." But real people say these things constantly.
So what did you do?
I watched with English subtitles, not my language. And every time I heard a phrase I didn't know but sounded useful, I paused, said it out loud, wrote it down.
You turned entertainment into active learning.
Without it feeling like work, because I genuinely wanted to know what was happening in the story. The motivation was real.
And that's the key, isn't it? Self-taught learning works best when you're genuinely interested in the material.
You can't fake interest for long, but you don't need to. The world is full of English content about things you actually care about.
Find your series, your podcast, your YouTube channel, your genre, and let the curiosity do the teaching.
I want to give you a picture. 2 types of learners.
Go ahead.
Imagine a sponge and a stone, both sitting in water. The sponge absorbs. It takes in everything around it, passively, constantly. The stone just sits there. Water surrounds it, but never enters.
Same environment, completely different result.
Self-taught learners are sponges. They absorb English from everything. A conversation overheard, a label on a product, a sign on a building, a song lyric.
They're always in absorption mode, not studying every moment, but always paying attention.
And stones, they have English around them all day. English on their phones, on the radio, in films. But they're not absorbing. They're just sitting in the water.
Being a sponge is a choice, a daily decision to pay attention rather than just be present.
You don't need more time. You need more absorption. The water is already there.
Choose to be the sponge. We want to give you 4 specific habits, the ones that appear again and again in people who learn English faster than average.
Habit 1. They consume English content they actually enjoy, not educational content they force themselves through. real content. Films, podcasts, music, books, whatever genuinely interests them.
Enjoyment creates repetition. You rewatch what you love. You re-listen. You revisit. And repetition is how language sticks.
Habit 2. They think in English.
Even for 1 minute a day. Walking to the kitchen, I'm going to make coffee. Looking out the window, it looks like it might rain. Small internal narration. No pressure, just English thoughts.
Habit 3. They don't translate. They feel.
Advanced learners don't translate from their language to English. They associate English words directly with images, feelings, and situations.
Rain doesn't make them think of the word for rain in their language. It makes them feel wet.
That direct connection is fluency. And you build it by using English as a feeling, not a code to crack.
Habit 4. They speak before they're ready.
They don't wait for perfect grammar. They open their mouth. They make mistakes. They adjust. They continue.
Speaking before you're ready is the fastest accelerator there is. Every mistake made out loud teaches you something a textbook exercise never could. Shadowing time. B1, B2 phrases for talking about learning, growth, and self-improvement. Say each one after us.
I've been immersing myself in English every day.
Your turn. I've been immersing myself in English every day.
I picked most of it up through watching and listening.
Natural and confident. I picked most of it up through watching and listening.
I learn best when I'm genuinely interested in the content.
Slowly. I learn best when I'm genuinely interested in the content.
I try to think in English as much as possible.
I try to think in English as much as possible.
Trial and error is how I figured out what works for me.
Strong finish. Trial and error is how I figured out what works for me.
All 5, one more time. No stopping.
I've been immersing myself in English every day. I picked most of it up through watching and listening. I learn best when I'm genuinely interested in the content. I try to think in English as much as possible. Trial and error is how I figured out what works for me.
Those are not just English phrases. That's how a confident, self-directed learner describes their own journey.
We want to be honest about something because self-taught learning has one common trap.
Passive consumption without active output.
Meaning watching, listening, reading, all input, all the time, but never speaking, never writing, never producing anything.
An input without output creates a listener, not a speaker.
You can understand everything and still freeze when someone asks you a question because understanding and producing are two very different skills.
So the rule is, for every hour of input, find 10 minutes of output.
Say something in English. Write something. Describe what you just watched. Summarize the podcast you listened to. Record yourself for 30 seconds.
Output forces your brain to retrieve what it's absorbed. And retrieval is what turns passive vocabulary into active vocabulary.
Words you understand become words you use. That's the shift.
Input gets it in. Output makes it yours. Here's something worth saying clearly.
Go ahead.
You do not need a better course, a more expensive app, or a teacher who speaks perfect English. You need the habits we talked about today, applied consistently, with patience, in a direction you actually enjoy.
The tools are everywhere. Free, accessible, waiting.
Podcasts, series, music, books, conversations, social media in English. Every one of these is a classroom if you approach it like a sponge.
The only thing you actually need that isn't free is consistency. And consistency isn't something you buy, it's something you decide.
Decide today. One small habit. One daily 10 minutes of English content you enjoy.
And in 6 months, you won't believe how far you've come.
Not because something magical happened, because you showed up quietly, regularly, and the language responded. Your challenge this week, we're calling it Design Your Self-Taught Week.
Pick one source of English content you genuinely enjoy. A series, a podcast, a YouTube channel, a book. Just one.
Commit to spending time with it every day this week, even 10 minutes. And this time, actively. Pause when you hear something interesting. Say it out loud. Write one phrase that you want to remember.
Input plus a tiny bit of output.
That's the formula. And come to the comments and tell us, what did you choose? What's your English content this week?
We want to know. Your answer might give someone else the perfect recommendation.
One source, 1 week. Watch what happens.
Before we go, the best English teacher you'll ever have is your own curiosity.
Follow it. Feed it. Trust it. It knows where to take you.
You don't need permission to learn. You don't need the perfect conditions. You just need to start treating your daily life as a classroom and paying attention.
The sponge is always learning, even when it doesn't feel like studying.
Especially then.
Leave us a comment. What is your favorite way to learn English outside of a classroom? We genuinely want to know.
Share this episode with someone who thinks they need a course to improve. This might change their whole approach.
Subscribe to Real English Flow. New episodes every week. Always real, always practical.
Take care of yourselves. Keep learning. Keep growing.
See you next time. Bye, everyone.